Hello, welcome to a new video. Today I'm bringing you my next round of anticipated releases. So this is covering releases from April, May and June. So obviously the next quarter, I'm very excited. I don't think there's as many this quarter as there was in the first quarter. Like there was so much in March. March is like insane how much there is. So I am going to go through, I'm going to give synopsis for any that there are sequels. I'm going to give the synopsis for the first book, because obviously I don't want to give you the synopsis for the second or third or whatever book, because that's going to have spoilers. So obviously I'm going to go in date order. These are the dates that are on either Waterstones or actually no, they're all the dates from Waterstones, so they are the UK release dates. I do not know if they are the same release dates everywhere, but here we go. So for April we have 3. So the first one on the 14th of April is the third book in the Strange Worlds Travel Agency series, which is The Secrets of the Storm Forest, and that's by L.D. Lipinski. So this is the final book in the trilogy. I'm really sad for this trilogy to be ending because I've loved this series. But the synopsis for the first book is, at the Strange Worlds Travel Agency, each suitcase transports you to a different world. All you have to do is step inside. When 12-year-old Flick Hudson accidentally ends up in Strange Worlds Travel Agency, she uncovers a fantastic secret. There are hundreds of other worlds just steps away from ours. All you have to do to visit them is jump into the right suitcase. Then Flick gets the invitation of a lifetime. Join Strange Worlds Magical Travel Society and explore other worlds. But, unknown to Flick, the world at the very centre of it all, a city called Five Lights, is in danger. Buildings and even streets are mysteriously disappearing. Once Flick realises what's happening, she must race against time, travelling through uncharted worlds, seeking a way to fix Five Lights before it collapses into nothingness and takes our world with it. So it's literally, the second book is just as full of adventure as the first book, and I have absolutely no doubt that the third book will be exactly the same. It's just such a good series. It's middle grade, it has adventure, and it has a lot of queer rep in it, which is just everything. Next up, on April the 26th, we have Hunters of the Lost City by Callie Wallace. Now, I have only ever read one book by Callie Wallace before, and it was a YA book called The Memory Trees, and I adored that. The writing style was incredible, the story was incredible, and I loved it. So I'm really excited to see what this author brings to a middle grade, because I believe it's their first middle grade. But the synopsis for this is, 12-year-old Octavia grew up believing the town of Victoria was the only one left in the world. The sole survivors of a deadly magical war and plague, the people of Victoria know there's no one alive outside the town walls, except the terrible monsters that prowl the forest. But then the impossible happens. Octavia meets another girl beyond the walls, someone who isn't Victorian. Everything she's ever believed in is thrown into question, and there's no going back. In her quest for the truth, Octavia discovers a world full of lies, monsters and magic. She'll have to use every scrap of her skill, wits and courage to uncover what's real about Victoria and the rest of the world. I love the idea of this. Like, it just sounds absolutely incredible, and I'm so excited. And we need more middle grade. Like, I know there's a lot of middle grade out there, but like, I want middle grade fantasy. More of it. And then the final April release is on April 28th, and that is Skandar and the Unicorn Thief by A.F. Stedman. This one, again, is another middle grade fantasy, and I am so here for it. The cover is incredible, and it sounds amazing. So, Skandar Smith has always yearned to leave the mainland and escape to the secretive island where wild unicorns roam free. He's spent years studying for his hatchery exam, the annual test that selects a handful of mainland and 13-year-olds to train to become unicorn riders. But on the day of Skandar's exam, things go horribly wrong, and his hopes are shattered until a mysterious figure knocks on his door at midnight bearing a message. The island is in peril, and Skandar must answer its call. Skandar is thrust into a world of epic sky battles, dangerous clashes with wild unicorns, and rumours of a shadowy villain amassing a unicorn army. And the closer Skandar grows to his newfound friends and community of riders, the harder it becomes to keep his secrets, especially when he discovers their lives may all be in graver danger than he ever imagined. Like, how amazing does that sound? It sounds so good. Okay, so now we move on to May, and there's quite a few in May. May's the biggest month for releases, for ones that I've found and been interested in. And a lot of these are actually not sequels. Out of all of them, only three of them are actually sequels to anything. So first up, on May the 3rd, one of my most anticipated releases of the year, because it's one of my favourite authors, we have Book of Night by Holly Black. This is going to be on a lot of people's anticipated releases, to be honest. It sounds incredible. It's Holly Black, and it's her first adult writing, which is going to be so exciting. So the blurb. In Charlie Hall's world, shadows can be altered for entertainment and cosmetic preferences, but also to increase power and influence. You can alter someone's feelings and memories, but manipulating shadows has a cost, with the potential to take hours or days from your life. Your shadow holds all the parts of you want to keep hidden, a second self standing just to your left, walking behind you into lit rooms, and sometimes it has a life of its own. Charlie is a low-level con artist, working as a bartender whilst trying to distance herself from the powerful and dangerous underground world of shadow trading. She gets by doing odd jobs for her patrons and the naive new money in her town at the edge of the Berkshires. But when a terrible figure from her past returns, Charlie's present life is thrown into chaos, and her future seems at best unclear and at worst non-existent. Determined to survive, Charlie throws herself into a maelstrom of secrets and murder, setting her against a cast of doppelgangers, mercurial billionaires, shadow thieves, and her own sister, all desperate to control the magic of the shadows. Does that or does that not sound amazing? Like, I'm so excited for it. The next one is also out on May 3rd, and I can't actually tell you anything about this book. It is Forging Silver into Stars by Bridget Kemmerer. And the reason I can't tell you anything about this book really is because this is the first book in a sequel series to the Cursebreaker series. So if you know about the Cursebreaker series by Bridget Kemmerer, the first book is A Curse So Dark and Lonely. It is a Beauty and Beast retelling where a girl from Washington DC is pulled into this like fantastical world where there is a prince with a curse. He turns into a beast, and the whole trilogy is just incredible. There's so much political intrigue, and I absolutely love it. This is the first book in the sequel series, and it follows two characters called Jackson Callan, who we have not met up until this point. However, there is also going to be a character from the first series, which I don't want to give you names because it could be spoilery for some people, but there is a character from the original trilogy that is going to feature in this, and I'm so excited because they are one of my favourite characters, and I was so hoping we would get more from them, and I absolutely love it. Like, whatever you do, if you've not read Cursebreakers, do not read the synopsis for this book because it has massive spoilers, and you don't want that. You don't want that. But what I will say, because this doesn't spoil it, at the very bottom of the synopsis, it just says, Jackson Callan find themselves embroiled in a world of shifting alliances, dangerous flirtations, and ancient magic, where even the deepest loyalties will be tested. That is all I'm going to say from the blurb, because that doesn't spoil the first book at all. But I'm just like, does that not sound amazing? Like, if you've not read the Cursebreaker series yet, please read it. It's one of my favourite series. I absolutely adore it, and I recommend it to almost everyone. So next up on May 5th is another sequel, and it's Legendarium by Jennifer Bell. This is the second book in the Wonderscape series, and do you know what? I actually didn't know this was going to have a sequel. I actually thought this was a standalone. So the blurb for the first book is, when Arthur, Ren and Cecily investigate a mysterious explosion on their way to school, they find themselves trapped aboard the Principia, a scientific research ship sailing through hazardous waters, captained by one Isaac Newton. Lost in the year 2473 in the Wonderscape, an epic in-reality adventure game, they must call on the help of some unlikely historical heroes to play their way home before time runs out. Jumanji meets Ready Player One in this fast-paced adventure featuring incredible real-life heroes, and honestly, it's such a good middle grade, and it does really have those futuristic Jumanji vibes, and it's just amazing. And I'm not talking futuristic Jumanji like Zathura, because we don't talk about Zathura. That film was terrible. If you like it, I'm sorry, but it was terrible. But this is just so good, and I'm so excited that there is a sequel because I really wanted more from this. Like, the way it ends, if I remember rightly, the way it ends, it doesn't really leave it open for a sequel, but it also doesn't not leave it open for a sequel. So I'm very excited to see where this goes, and obviously I pre-ordered it the moment I realised there was a sequel. Next up, we have a Star Wars book called Brotherhood by Mike Chen. This one comes out on May the 10th. I'm actually going to be on the blog tour for this later on in the month of May. I'm very excited to receive a copy of this because I've only just a year and a half ago got into Star Wars, and it's just sort of escalated from there. But I've been wanting to get into the Star Wars books for a while. I did purchase a Star Wars book a while back, but I haven't read it yet. But I'm really looking forward to this. The blurb is: Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker must stem the tide of the raging Clone Wars and forge a new bond as Jedi Knights. The Clone Wars have begun. Battle lines are being drawn throughout the galaxy. With every world that joins the Separatists, the peace guarded by the Jedi Order is slipping through their fingers. After an explosion devastates Cato Neimoidia, the jewel of the Trade Federation, the Republic is blamed and the fragile neutrality of the planet is threatened. The Jedi dispatch Obi-Wan Kenobi, one of the Order's most gifted diplomatic minds, to investigate the crime and maintain the balance that has begun to dangerously shift. As Obi-Wan investigates with the help of a heroic Neimoidian guard, he finds himself working against the Separatists who hope to draw the planet into their conspiracy, and senses the sinister hand of Asajj Ventress in the mists that cloak the planet. Amid the brewing chaos, Anakin Skywalker rises to the rank of Jedi Knight. Despite the mandate that Obi-Wan travel alone and his former master's insistence that he'd listen this time, Anakin's headstrong determination means nothing can stop him from crashing the party and bringing along a promising but conflicted youngling. Once a Padawan to Obi-Wan, Anakin now finds himself an equal but uncertain footing with the man who raised him. The lingering friction between them increases the danger for everyone around them. The two knights must learn a new way to work together, and they must learn quickly to save Cato Neimoidia and its people from the fires of war. To overcome the threat they face, they must grow beyond master and apprentice. They must stand together as brothers. So this, I feel, is set sort of between Attack of the Clones and Clone Wars, which I am currently watching Clone Wars. I'm like binging that show. I am on season 4 of 7 and I am obsessed. I absolutely love it. Considering I wasn't a fan of Attack of the Clones, it's one of my, I actually think it is my least favourite of all of them. I'm really enjoying Clone Wars and finding out more about Obi-Wan and Anakin becoming like brothers. So this is going to be perfect for me. Next up on May the 12th, we have Book Lovers by Emily Henry. Yeah, we're getting some contemporary on this. So, One Summer, Two Rivals, a plot twist they didn't see coming. Nora Stevens' life is books. She's read them all and she's not that type of heroine. Not the plucky one, not the laid-back dream girl, and especially not the sweetheart. In fact, the only people Nora is a heroine for are her clients, for whom she lands enormous deals as a cutthroat literary agent, and her beloved little sister Libby. Which is why she agrees to go to Sunshine Falls, North Carolina, for the month of August, when Libby begs her for a sister's trip away, with visions of a small town transformation for Nora, who she's convinced needs to become the heroine in her own story. But instead of picnics in meadows, or run-ins with a handsome country doctor, or bulging four-armed bartender, Nora keeps bumping into Charlie Lastra, a bookish, brooding editor from back in the city. It would be a meet cute if not for the fact that they've met many times and it's never been cute. If Nora knows she's not an ideal heroine, Charlie knows he's nobody's hero. But as they are thrown together again and again in a series of coincidences no editor worth their salt would allow, what they discover might just unravel the carefully crafted stories they've written about themselves. Does that sound amazing? That sounds so good. We're bringing together contemporary romance and books. Yes, that's all I have to say about it. Just yes. Next up, also on May the 12th, we have Only on the Weekends by Dean Atta. So this is a YA contemporary, I believe. So it's got Mac, Karim, Finley. Mac never thought he'd find love, let alone with two people. Will he make the right choice, and can love last forever? A must-read queer love story for the fans of sex education, written in verse by Dean Atta. 15-year-old Mac is a hopeless romantic. He blames the films he's grown up watching. He has liked Karim for as long as he can remember and is ecstatic when Karim becomes his boyfriend. It feels like love. But when Mac's dad gets a job on a film in Scotland, Mac has to move, and soon he discovers how painful love can be. It's horrible being so far away from Karim, but the worst part is Karim doesn't make the effort to visit. Love shouldn't be only on weekends. Then, when Mac meets actor Finley on a film set, he experiences something powerful, a feeling like love at first sight. How long until he tells Karim, and when will his old life and new life collide? This sounds really cute, and I'm really excited. I've not read anything by Dean Atta before, but I've heard great things about their work, so I'm really excited to finally read something by them. The next one is another one on May the 12th, and this is one that I actually did win an ARC of. I haven't read it yet, but I'm waiting a bit closer to release, and that is Twin Crowns by Catherine Mubber and Catherine Doyle. I'm really excited for this. It's a YA fantasy. So the synopsis on the back of this is pretty short. The synopsis on Goodreads is a bit more in depth. So it says, a high-stakes fantasy rom-com about two princesses separated at birth, one raised as the crown princess and the other taken as an infant and raised to kidnap her sister, steal the crown and avenge the parents' murders. Wren Greenrock has always known that one day she would steal her sister's place in the palace. Trained from birth to return to the place of her parents' murder and usurp the only survivor, she will do anything to rise to power and protect the community of witches she loves. Or she would, if only a certain palace guard wasn't quite so distractingly attractive and if her reckless magic didn't have a habit of causing trouble. Princess Rose Valhart knows that with power comes responsibility. Marriage into a brutal kingdom awaits, and she will not let a small matter like waking up in the middle of the desert in the company of an extremely impertinent and handsome kidnapper get in the way of her royal duty. But life outside the palace walls is wilder and more beautiful than she ever imagined, and the witches she has long feared might turn out to be the family she never knew she was missing. Two sisters separated at birth, raised into entirely different worlds, are about to get to know each other's lives a whole lot better. But as Coronation Day looms closer and they each strive to claim their birthright, the sinister King's Breath, William Rathbone, becomes increasingly determined that neither will succeed. Who will ultimately rise to power and wear the crown? I'm so excited for this, and every time I look at that synopsis, it just makes me that little bit more excited because I need it in my life. And then again, another one. On May the 12th, we have Set on You by Amy Leah. This is another contemporary romance. Get me with my contemporary romances. So the blurb says, a gym nemesis pushes a fitness influencer to the max in Amy Leah's steamy debut romantic comedy. Curvy fitness influencer Crystal Chen built her career shattering gym stereotypes and mostly ignoring the trolls. After her recent breakup, she has little stamina left for men, instead finding solace in the gym, her place of power and positivity. Enter firefighter Scott Ritchie, the smug new gym patron who routinely steals her favourite squat rack. Sparks fly as these ultra-competitive foes battle for gym domination, but after a series of escalating jabs, the last thing they expect is to run into each other at their grandparents' engagement party. In the lead up to their grandparents' wedding, Crystal discovers there's a soft heart under Scott's muscled exterior. Bonding over family, fitness and cheesy pickup lines, she just might have found her swole mate. But when a photo of them goes viral, savage internet trolls put their budding relationship to the ultimate test of strength. So this sounds like it's gonna have some good fat rep in it, which, yes, I need a romance with a plus size character. Yes, please. Yes, please. And then the final book in May is one that's possibly one of my most anticipated books of the year. This is the third book in a series, which we didn't know we was getting. This was originally a duology. And then I think it was the end of 2021, the author announced that because of everyone's love for this series and the fact that they wanted more, there is going to be a third book, and that is Rivals by Catherine McGee. And this is May 31st. I can't remember if I said that. So obviously the first book in this series is American Royals, and then we have Majesty, and now we have Rivals. So the blurb for American Royals: what if America had a royal family? When America won the Revolutionary War, its people offered General George Washington a crown. 2.5 centuries later, the House of Washington still sits on the throne. As Princess Beatrice gets closer to becoming America's first Queen Regent, the duty she has embraced her entire life suddenly feels stifling. Nobody cares about the spare, except when she's breaking the rules, so Princess Samantha doesn't care much about anything either, except the one boy who is distinctly off limits to her. And then there's Samantha's twin, Prince Jefferson. If he'd been born a generation earlier, he would have stood first in line for the throne, but the new laws of succession make him third. Most of America adores their devastatingly handsome prince, but two very different girls are vying to capture his heart. It's honestly like a soap opera. It's like a drama show, and oh my god, I love it so much. It is what I would call a guilty pleasure if I believed in guilty pleasures. I don't feel guilty for reading stuff, but if I did, this would be a guilty pleasure. I love the duology and I'm so excited to continue it. So in June, we only have 2, and the first one is on June the 7th, and it's Wrath Goddess Singh by Maya Dean. This one sounds incredible. So, drawing on ancient text and modern archaeology to reveal the trans woman's story hidden beneath the well-known myths of the Iliad, Maya Dean's Wrath Goddess Singh with a compelling, pitiless, beautiful vision of Achilles' vanished world, perfect for fans of Song of Achilles and the Inheritance trilogy. The gods wanted blood, she fought for love. Achilles has fled her home and her vicious Myrmidon clan to live as a woman with the Kali, the transgender priestesses of Great Mother Aphrodite. When Odysseus comes to recruit the prince Achilles for a war against the Hittites, she prepares to die rather than fight as a man. However, her divine mother Athena intervenes, transforming her body into the woman's body she always longed for, and promises her everything: glory, power, fame, victory in war, and most importantly, a child born of her own body. Reunited with her beloved cousin Patroclus and his brilliant wife, the sorceress Merope, Achilles sets out to war with a vengeance. But the gods, a dysfunctional family of abusive immortals that have gluttoned on human sacrifices for centuries, have woven ancient schemes more blood-soaked and nightmarish than Achilles can imagine. At the centre of it all is the cruel immortal Helen, who sees Achilles as a worthy enemy after millennia of ennui and emptiness. In love with her newfound nemesis, Helen sets out to destroy everything and everyone Achilles cherishes, seeking a battle to the death. An innovative spin on a familiar tale, this is the Trojan War unlike anything ever told, and an Achilles whose vulnerability is revealed by the people she chooses to fight and chooses to trust. I don't know why, but I couldn't speak then. I apologise for that. But that sounds really good, and I'm here for it so much. And then the final book is on June 28th, and it is a sequel. It is Bladebreaker by Victoria Aveyard. This is, of course, the sequel to Realmbreaker, and oh my god, I'm so excited by going by how Realmbreaker ended. I need this book now. So the blurb for Realmbreaker is: a strange darkness grows in Allwood. Even Karain and Amarat can feel it, tucked away in her small town at the edge of the sea. She soon discovers the truth. She is the last of an ancient lineage, and the last hope to save the world from destruction. But she won't be alone. Even as darkness falls, she is joined by a band of unlikely companions: a squire, forced to choose between home and honour; an immortal, avenging a broken promise; an assassin, exiled and bloodthirsty; an ancient sorceress, whose riddles hide an eerie foresight; a forger with a secret past; a bounty hunter with a score to settle. Together they stand against a vicious opponent, invincible and determined to burn all kingdoms to ash, and an army unlike anything the realm has ever witnessed. The first book was incredible. So yeah, I'm very excited for this one. Okay, so that is all of the releases that I am anticipating for the next 3 months of the year. If there are any that I missed that you think I would like, please comment them down below, because I'm ready to make my list longer. I'm happy with this. I'm very happy with this. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Bye.